just trying to find their way. Of course, in the case of Miami, you're doing it with your backup quarterback, Jake Garcia. Tyler Van Dyke still banged up as he was in that Duke game. They kept that under the vest, but we both had a feeling that it was going to be Garcia's day, Freddie, and that's what it's going to look like the rest of the way.
And so far, the safe throws have worked for him, but we'll see if they can open it up just a little bit now that they can get those safe throws to make it work.
It'll be Parrish getting the call on first down. He's stacked up and bottled up right near the line of scrimmage. Maybe a couple. James Jackson, the weak side linebacker, on the tackle. It'll set up a second down and 9, let's call it, for Miami.
And he got a lot of great help from Jack Camper. He's the backup bandit who replaces Chico Bennett at times. He did a really good job with his pursuit on the backside and able to collapse that play. Miami
working it left to right. On the near hash. 3 wide set for Garcia out of the shotgun. Looking up at a Virginia 4-man front. Gets the snap from the pocket. Rifles one over the middle. Complete left hash. And that's the first catch of the game for Will Mallory, who gets to the 32-yard line before he's wrestled down. Will Mallory, his 99th career reception, the all-conference tight end.
Averaging 14 yards per catch, and sometimes a quarterback's best friend, if you can't run the football, is to have your tight end find a seam, because it was zone defense. When they motioned the man across, they bumped the coverage. He didn't follow him. He did not travel with him. That told Garcia, the quarterback, it's his zone coverage. That means you can find an underneath route.
So on a 3rd and 1, they bring Ja'Curry Brown back in at quarterback, and they keep him in the shotgun. Parrish behind him, 3 wide set.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And with that, we do say welcome in to a Saturday edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We appreciate those listening to 7th-ranked TCU and West Virginia. That's the game that you were hearing on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. That one is tied at 14. Of course, that is 7th-ranked TCU on the road at West Virginia, a place where the Horned Frogs, no matter who coaches them, have struggled in the recent years. Welcome in. We're live from University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer, the largest volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. They've been that way for over a decade, so we appreciate them for hosting us on a Saturday. And it is a Saturday that has the Auburn Tigers at home taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks. And just moments ago,
A.J. Jefferson in trouble. Breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle to the 5. Touchdown, Arkansas. K.J. Jefferson, 13 yards.
K.J. Jefferson, Drew, from 13 yards out, gives the Hogs a 14-3 lead over the Auburn Tigers early on inside Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Yeah, and it's the 11 a.m. kick at Jordan-Hare on the SEC Network, and Auburn came out, got a 3-and-out, sacked KJ on the first play with Owen Papo, and then was on a nice drive, but it bogged down, and the field goal was no good by Anders Carlson. They came back on their second drive and kicked a field goal to take a lead, their first lead of the game, with about 3:12 left in the first quarter. But back-to-back touchdown drives for Arkansas, Scott. Yeah. And we just heard the second one. K.J. Jefferson goes in from 13 yards out. Justin Hokanson tweeting that K.J. Jefferson is very, very hard to tackle. K.J. also off to a good start throwing the ball. I think he only has 1 incompletion so far. They've been going after Nehemiah Pritchett at corner. Yeah, so but Auburn's done a decent job against the run so far. I mean, they've been holding Arkansas to 3.6 yards a carry. But again, Arkansas starting to assert itself, and it was a little bit of a pregame controversy. Auburn accidentally announced Holden Grenier, the true freshman, as the starting quarterback, and everybody was panicking a little bit, like, what's going on? Even though Robbie Ashford was on the field warming up as the #1, it was just a mistake by the media relations people at Auburn. But as we've said, Ashford's been in there, but once again, Auburn having trouble putting points on the board.
Ashford just 2 of 5 so far on the afternoon for 12 yards. Right now, he's the leading rusher with 6 carries, 18 yards.
Yeah.
And Tank Bigsby, 7 carries, 16 yards for the Auburn Tigers. Just 65 yards total on the ground. But that's not bad considering Arkansas has 65 yards as well. Both of them around 3.6, 3.4 yards per carry. But if you're the Auburn Tigers, you want to see those numbers from Tank Bigsby be a little bit better. 7 carries, 16 yards, 2.3 yards per carry. Those numbers you want to see a little bit higher right there. Those are concerning numbers early on for Auburn.
Well, they are. Neither one of these teams are very good against the run statistically. And so neither one of them is running it at a high clip. So for Auburn coming in, they're coming off of a 300-yard-plus performance against Ole Miss, and Tank had his best game, had 179 yards. And with Ashford being a limited passer, the only time we've seen Auburn show any explosiveness as a passing offense was against LSU. So they needed to run the football well in this game. Arkansas needed to slow down Auburn's running game, which they've done. They certainly haven't let Tank Bigsby get to assert himself. And now they have a double-digit lead already and have the ball back.
Yeah.
So they're right now Auburn's teetering a little bit. They need to make a stop here.
Maybe it's a game of reversals for Auburn.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it. Auburn has gotten off to great starts this year in certain ball games, and then they fizzle out in the third and fourth quarters. Maybe it's reverse. Maybe this is the game where Auburn slow starts out of the gate and then picks it up. I think they got off to a slow start against Ole Miss as well.
Yeah.
And then finally got something going.
Oh, they were down 21-0. It looked like they were going to get blown out of the other end of the stadium. And then they did. They actually played a better second half against Ole Miss to get back in that game. And I think they outscored them 34-27 to end it, but just dug too deep a hole. But you don't want to dig a deep hole against this Arkansas team, though. You don't want to get down 3 scores.
Especially against an Arkansas team that's coming in with KJ Jefferson back. Yeah. He was back last week, but this Arkansas team went out to BYU and put 52 points on. And I know BYU is not an SEC opponent, but still you have to travel halfway across the country. You play a non-conference opponent with an offense that was struggling. This is an Auburn defense that, yes, they gave themselves a chance in Ole Miss, but they gave up a lot of yards on the ground to the Rebels, almost over 400 yards to the Ole Miss Rebels. So if you're the Auburn Tigers, you got to find a way to put some points on the board early. All right, so that is right now the only SEC game going on. Your slate of SEC games for the rest of the day. The 2:30 game, obviously, we talked a lot about that all week. That's the cocktail party. Top-ranked Georgia, Florida. We've broken that one down, ad nauseum. And then, of course, tonight, if you wanted to look at the premier matchup in the SEC for the evening, it has to be third-ranked Tennessee, 19th-ranked Kentucky inside Neyland Stadium. Tennessee going with the black helmets, the Halloween uniforms. They want to, against Alabama, I guess they checkered Neyland, or they did something. They did it twice already this year.
White and orange, white.
Now they're wanting to do the black-orange checkered thing tonight for Halloween there inside Neyland Stadium. That is a 6 o'clock kick. That's your premier night matchup in the league.
Warren, Tennessee, I think they're going to win this game, but just remember Georgia tried blackouts, and it went horribly wrong.
Is this the first time? This isn't the first time Tennessee's worn the
I don't
black
think so, but
right?
but we remember when they debuted the smoky grays, which they don't wear all that often. It went horribly wrong, and they've kept them. So we'll see. I mean, it's all well and good to try new uniforms. It is Halloween weekend. We understand that it's going to be Halloween on Monday, but I just would warn them. Sometimes these themed, white out, black out. Well, Arkansas tried a red out against Alabama, and the only thing red on the field was the blood from Alabama running over them.
Well, I mean, Arkansas did put up a fight in the third.
That's what I'm saying. They put up a fight and then
self-inflicted of Alabama's mistakes.
Yeah, and then got trampled. But, I mean, so sometimes these themed games don't work out. So
all right, so here we go. Tennessee did this in 2021
The black
against
uniforms.
South Carolina. Yeah, they wore the all black, and Georgia.
So how I know the Georgia game went horribly wrong. How did the
41-17, it was that one.
How did the South Carolina game go?
I don't know on that one.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just know that they've worn them in 2021.
I do know Georgia bludgeoned them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at them, and they look nice.
Oh, I mean, they don't look bad.
The black helmets.
I don't.
The black helmets.
I don't have a problem how it looks. Now, if Alabama did that, I'd throw up. But I mean, I'm just
okay. Why? I've never understood the mystique of that. Why is it that if Alabama or even Auburn, for that much, Auburn type fans are the same way. If Alabama came out with white helmets for one game,
no, I want the white helmets. I'm talking about black helmets. If they did anything with black, as far as a uniform, I would throw up.
Okay, because it's not in their palette wheel.
No. Now, if they did a white helmet, like Wes Neighbors was there the last time they did white helmets.
Yes.
White helmets with white uniforms, that would look pretty good. I wouldn't mind that. I don't think I could go with crimson bars, though. It'd have to be white bars and just totally white. But
what if they came out with the crimson pants and the crimson red, crimson on crimson?
No,
we're not.
No, I just don't think so. I mean, I just don't think I could handle that. I could probably handle gray pants. But
right.
But really, just white pants with the crimson stripe.
Yeah.
Let's just do the white pants, man.
All right, 256.
I don't think I could do it. I couldn't do it.
Couldn't be like Oregon, where they have 700 different combinations to choose from, and there's really
the other day they had pink on them and green and lime green and all this crap. I mean, it looked like something out of a. Never mind, I can't say this on this show, but I mean,
looked like something out of Tron
or whatever,
futuristic
Tron on crack, or I don't know.
256-576-4977. You want to join the Saturday show?
Well, your son was there. What did he think?
He loves this. Now, now he's 19.
Yeah.
Loves the new jerseys. He loves schools that have different jerseys, the fresh look, and all that other stuff. And there are individuals and there are fans that have grown up with Alabama wearing the white pants with the crimson stripe and the white jersey on the road, the crimson jersey at home, and that is all they want to see Alabama in. They don't want to see them in anything else. High schools, we see it. They change jerseys a lot and stuff. I'm just wondering, I mean, will there be a day where Alabama and Auburn do what Tennessee is doing and eventually bow down to this newer age thing and
the only,
change
like I
their
said, the only
jerseys?
small tweaks I would have would be gray pants. But really, I wouldn't even do that. I'd probably just stay with the red crimson jerseys with the white pants.
Yeah.
And then again, as you've seen, there's crimson helmets with the gray bars on them. And then I wouldn't mind an all white helmet with white bars, and then white on white. Because it wouldn't look right with white jerseys and red pants, or white jerseys and gray pants. You know what I'm saying? I just think you keep the home uniform like you always do, crimson jerseys with white pants, and then I wouldn't mind with the all whites if they would do an all white helmet, because they've done it before. It's not like it's never been done. They did it under Coach Bryant, so I don't understand why they wouldn't do that. That last time they did it was under Coach Perkins, but that would be something I would think would be pretty cool. But that's about it. And none of this, you see all these. There are people that make these crazy looking helmets. Like they got script A's on them and all. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Not doing all this metallic silver, metallic crimson.
No.
Top 25 action going on right now. Second ranked Ohio State on the road at 13th ranked Penn State. Buckeyes trailing. Ohio State was down 10-0. Penn State has scored 13 unanswered. 14, two back-to-back touchdowns. It is.
We've got a developing situation here.
It is 14-10.
The Sucks are losing. This is a great morning or afternoon now, I guess. Come on, Penn State.
That one in the second quarter, 6:50 left to go before half. Penn State now out in front 14-10. TCU has taken a 21-14 lead on West Virginia. And Notre Dame on the road at 16th ranked Syracuse is up 14-7 with 5:48 left to go before the half.
That shows you the strength of that conference. Syracuse nearly beat Clemson and couldn't score in the second half.
Right.
And Notre Dame, who is awful, pathetic,
Yes.
and terrible, is beating Syracuse. Let me say that again. Awful, terrible, and pathetic, and they're beating Syracuse.
Yes, they are indeed before
Can
half.
we even say Clemson and the Clowns anymore? It's just a bunch of clowns in that whole conference.
Notre Dame is just a rent-a-clown.
Oh, my
They don't even
God.
belong to the conference.
Had to sit here on my way up here and listen to Steve Berline imitating Lou Holtz from Galaxy Far, Far Away, talking about we can win this game easily. We can dominate. That's a long time ago, Lou. They didn't have HDTV anymore. They didn't even have HDTV. They didn't have smartphones. They didn't have texting.
Speaking of Clemson.
FaceTime. Any of that.
Speaking of Clemson and the Clowns, Florida State at home against Georgia Tech right now, and the Noles out in front 14-3. Florida State gets a win there. They'll be 5-3, 3-3 in SEC play.
ACC, yep.
Have a chance to get to 6 wins. Have a chance to get Mike Norvell and company to a bowl game, which would be huge progress in that rebuild there that Dirtneck left them in. And UConn and Boston College, in case anybody really cares, UConn on top 10-3. So that's your ACC scores.
Well, our guest Aaron Torres in the at the second hour to carry. He's a UConn grad, but you're right. There's not very many people.
I don't think
there were. I even
was,
asked him. He's got a new dog, and I asked him if he named the dog Hurley. Dan
yeah.
Hurley. Didn't. No, I don't think so.
All right,
No,
Oklahoma on top of Iowa State in Big 12 play, 13-3. Oklahoma 10 points there in the second to have that lead. And other Big Ten games going on right now that involve non-ranked teams. It's a busy Saturday for college football. That's it. Ohio State and Penn State, the only game in action now inside the Big Ten.
Yep.
My Iowa Hawkeyes take on Northwestern, the battle of two inept football teams today. So,
And the battle of the inept is I don't care what UCLA's record is, but how did Stanford win 3 games? Who the hell did they beat? That's all I want to say.
Well, let's find out. David Shaw and Stanford. By the way, remember, if you want to go to a Stanford game, a home game, there's 2 left. All you have to do is show up. They're going to let you in for free.
My goodness.
You can sample any seat in the house for a season ticket next year.
I'm looking here. Stanford beat vaunted Colgate in the first game.
Who lost to Army.
Yeah. And then they got whacked by USC.
Yes.
Whacked by Washington.
Yes.
Whacked by Oregon.
Yes.
Beaten by Oregon State on like a Hail Mary type of deal. And then, oh my Lord, they beat sorry Notre Dame on the road.
Yes, they did.
Oh, how putrid is that? I forgot about that. Well, I should have been railing on that. Notre Dame is so bad, and they're beating a ranked Syracuse team. Good Lord. How pathetic is the ACC?
It's bad.
It's really bad.
And their other win is a 1-point win against a lifeless Arizona State squad.
15-14. How many people were in the stands? Like 5?
That was the game that they were showing. That was the game that they were showing pictures of.
Yeah, the fans.
And you're not exaggerating when you say
5
about
people
5 fans. Yeah.
And their dogs? Man.
Yeah.
Good grief. And now they're doing the Kansas. Just come on in.
Just come on in, and you can sit in any seat, and if you like it, you can buy season tickets to it next year. No obligation. You don't have to buy it, but you're more than welcome
Who
to come
ain't
on
that
into a
cost?
football
Tiger?
game.
I mean, good Lord.
I don't know. Maybe they're hoping to make up for it in popcorn sales.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody would want burned popcorn to watch Stanford.
All right, Tank Bigsby busts one loose for 41 yards.
There we go.
Auburn on the board with a touchdown, extra point pending.
Well, there you go. They're right back in it.
Yep. Tank Bigsby now, that his carries went up. 9 carries, 57 yards.
Well, he's capable.
For Tank Bigsby. And remember, we were saying that they had to figure out a way to get him going because his yards per average there early on was like not great.
Not good at all. I mean, you're talking about he had 16 yards on 7 carries. So you got to get Tank going. You got to keep feeding him. And that's big for Auburn to get him loose and cut into this lead.
Yeah, he's now 8 carries, 57 yards. He's averaging now 7.1 yards per carry is Tank Bigsby. So he's turned that around. Robbie Ashford all of a sudden now is 50% for the game, 4 of 8, 30 yards. So he has settled in a little bit. Mm-hmm. So Auburn making a game of it, but
I think this is going to be a good game. I mean, just reading up on it and studying it a little bit and studying both teams. I mean, and the people that follow them every day. We talked to a lot of those guys: Jason Caldwell, Justin Hokanson, and Brian Matthews. Everybody was picking a high-scoring game in the 30s. A 38-31, 34-31 type deal. And I felt like the same way. I did take Arkansas in the game, but I thought Auburn would play them a competitive game because Arkansas is just not good defensively. I mean, in really either category. I'm talking about either rushing defense or pass defense. Pass defense, they're terrible, but the problem is Auburn is not a great passing team, so they can't really exploit it to the nth degree. But if Ashford can just take care of the ball and they don't turn it over, they got a shot in this thing because this Arkansas team is good on offense and they can run the football. There's no doubt about it. And KJ is a guy that is efficient, but they don't have a Traylon Burks type receiver. And hopefully Auburn can stay in this game. And that touchdown was huge from Tank Bigsby from 41 yards out.
All right. 256-576-4977. You want to join the show, feel free to do so as we are live this morning from University Kia along University Drive.
And don't forget, Anders Carlson missed a makeable field goal, or this would be a 14-13 game because Auburn was about to get on the board first, and they did get on the board the next drive 3-0, but they could have been 6-0. I mean, it was just wide. So Auburn's moved the ball.
Yeah, Anders has kind of struggled this year a little bit.
Yeah, he's coming back from the 8th ACL. He's been a little off.
Yeah.
Not as good as you're used to seeing.
All right, so one of the games also, and I mentioned the primetime game, of course, this evening in the SEC, Pitt's ranked Tennessee, ranked Kentucky. But there is one ranked matchup this evening on the SEC network, and that is 15th ranked Ole Miss traveling to Texas A&M. And Ole Miss, a 3-point favorite in this one. Mm-hmm. Texas A&M has had one of those weeks where you just want to curl back up in bed, roll the covers over your head, and not let anybody bother you. It's been that kind of week for Texas A&M.
Well, and I'm sure you heard about Jimbo yesterday. He blew off the SEC network meeting with all the TV town. Yeah, he went ahead and did a Zoom after some people raised Cane, Feinbaum put it on the radio.
But my thing is, though, and here's the thing about that, it's the exact same crew he had last week.
It is.
I mean, so I get it.
They said he was on a recruiting call, though.
I mean, if you're on a recruiting call, I mean, does that
make of that what you will? I certainly did.
So, in other words, he was calling whatever
he was going
bank
by
they
whatever
have
bank.
down there
He was calling the collective to go get a big bag of money and go buy another one.
And if it was past 5, he was seeing that the bank was still open, so he could
probably wasn't past 5, though. He's probably got special privileges considering they need players bad.
Well, they had a bunch suspended. They'll have a bunch suspended.
They're doing a great job managing that roster
for this game.
But
that's the new era of college football. We're going to see that. We're going to see guys.
We're going to see guys quit. I mean, we've already seen dudes like at Oklahoma State. This dude was a starter, offensive lineman, and he just decides to check out and start training for the draft. It's just the world you live in. What's going to be so key, and I'm talking about for every coach. I'm not just talking about Jimbo Fisher. You've got to communicate with your players. You've got to earn the trust of your players, and they have to be thinking you got their best interest at heart and that you're developing them and giving them a shot to get to the NFL and, of course, with NIL, getting a piece of the pie. It's that becomes even more crucial with this, the communication part of it. Because, again, the players have the power, man. They're getting NIL now, and now they have changed the transfer window, so you can't just immediately go in the portal and leave, but you can leave.
That's
just like we've seen with Auburn this week.
In at Auburn right now.
Landon King, Tavares Dawson, all these guys, and Sakevius Walker, what we've seen this week.
But you could argue that they're just quitting on their team as well.
You can definitely make that argument because they don't want a red shirt,
right?
And they're saying either hit the portal or quit.
And you can't go into the portal
until December 5th.
Right. Yep. So basically they have quit on their team because they are not on the field today. They're not on the roster anymore.
Not practicing.
They're not practicing. So they have checked out of the program, leaving Auburn. I mean, Auburn was already thin.
Right.
Whether they were playing or not, they make Auburn shorthanded because they are not physically there on the field.
Right.
With Auburn.
Right.
All right. Phew. 12:25. We can get our first break in here. We're live from University Kia. Speaking of Texas A&M,
right?
They're at home tonight. 15th ranked Ole Miss. Ole Miss, a 3-point favorite, and Travis Brown will be there tonight. And we'll preview that one coming up next from Kyle Field.
Yes, we will. We're going to talk to Travis L. Brown next.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
Got to do what we got to do, helping the people that did lose their jobs and lost their income, and now they don't have money for their food.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community with what we're dealing with, what you sign up for as a soldier.
We will not rest until the mission is complete.
Each one of these soldiers, once they received the call, they understood that all hands were on deck. This goes to the core of what citizen soldiers do.
We are your Army National Guard.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is an Alabama legacy moment.
Born Henry Louis Aaron on February 5, 1934 in Mobile, baseball icon Hank Aaron first honed his baseball skills while growing up in Alabama. He is best known for breaking Babe Ruth's record of 714 home runs, ultimately hitting 755, a record that stood from 1974 to 2007. During his career, Aaron was a member of the Milwaukee and then Atlanta Braves for 21 seasons and made the National League All-Star team every year from 1955 to 1974. He won 3 Gold Glove Awards for outfield, and his lifetime records for most runs batted in and most extra base hits still stand. Aaron was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1982 with 97.8% of the votes cast. In 2002, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the ABA, and this station.
This is an Alabama legacy moment.
The famous goal line stand, one of the most celebrated moments in Alabama sports history. The Tide was leading the 1979 Sugar Bowl when Penn State moved the ball to within 10 inches of the goal line. Barry Krause and Marty Lyons leaped over the pile to stop Nittany Lions running back Mike Gooman and preserve the Tide's victory. The win handed Coach Paul Bear Bryant his 5th national championship.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the ABA, and this station.
This is an Alabama legacy moment.
Olympian Jesse Owens dominated the 1936 Olympics with 4 track and field gold medals in the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash, the long jump, and the 4x100-meter relay. The Lawrence County native dominated track and field from a young age, while in college at the Big Ten Championships, Owens set 3 world records and tied a 4th in less than 1 hour. Owens is widely remembered as the nation's greatest Olympian.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the ABA, and this station.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you live from University Kia along University Drive. Make sure you stop on out here today. Test drive a Kia. They want to see you in a Kia. We want to see you in a Kia. They have been the #1 Kia dealer in the state of Alabama for a decade. There's a reason why, folks. They have been #1. Get on out here, visit with any one of the sales associates. They can get you in a car. They can get you into a used car. They can get you into a new car. You name the car, tell them you want it. They will find it. They will get you into a vehicle, I promise, here at University Kia. And 15's ranked Ole Miss tonight, Texas A&M, 6:30, SEC Network. Boy, oh boy, this game here, we saw Ole Miss just get handled on the road last week at LSU. Now they're on a road again, and I did not know this, and I guess it's because I have paid attention to the Texas A&M schedule, but I never really looked at it. Hard to believe that they are playing their first conference game of the season at home this week.
Right. It's been a little bit weird the way the schedule has gone, but they do have Ole Miss and Kyle Field, and they need to get it turned around. It's been a tumultuous week off the field for Texas A&M, and we are going to welcome our next guest, our first guest of the show on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. He's been with us in the past. He does a great job for the Eagle in College Station covering Texas A&M athletics. He has a daily podcast as well. And we're going to talk to Travis L. Brown. He's with us right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Travis, welcome to Huntsville with Drew and Scott. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are y'all?
We're doing well, sir. And what is the climate, man? I know you were just talking about this recently. Is it apathetic right now? Is it apprehensive? What is the temperature in College Station right now around this team and this game today, which, this is a kind of a fork in the road game if they want to get to a bowl game, still have a solid year under Jimbo in year 5. This is a game they need to get.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm actually going to be really curious to see today is kind of what is the vibe from the fan base. I think kind of skewing that data is the fact, like you said, that they've been away for 6 weeks, and this is the first home conference game of the season. So I think the students, the fans, they're excited to see some football, have a little bit of that game day experience back in Aggie land for the first time in a long time. So I think there will be some excitement to that level, but I don't think that the leash on the good vibes is going to be very long from people and the fans if things don't necessarily go their way early, because it's been a tough season for fans to watch. Offense has been pretty stale at times. The run defense is one of the worst in the nation, and they've had to actually rely on defense to score for them at times this season. So I'll be interested to see how long the good vibes last.
Is this Haynes King today at quarterback? What's his leash or what's his forecast, I guess, for today?
Yeah, is he healthy enough?
We actually have sources last night that confirmed that Connor Wegman is going to start for the Aggies, the true freshman.
There you go.
You have to admit, you have to say that you would think that decision is because Haynes King is too banged up to go. I think Haynes King's running ability would be a pretty good asset against this Ole Miss defense, who also hasn't been very good against the run, especially mobile quarterbacks this season. But Connor Wegman's going to be the guy today.
Well, and that means they're going to have to really lean on this running game and Devon Achane. But we know Achane is capable. He's probably the fastest player in the SEC. At least he's got to be among the top 3 to 5. But I think he's as fast as anyone I've seen in pads. So I would think with this run defense of Ole Miss, Travis, we'll see a heavy dose of Achane.
Yeah, he was actually he runs track for the Aggies and actually was a finalist in the 200 going into track last season. So he's one of the fastest guys in the country. You would think that, with how Ole Miss has struggled against the run, that was one of the ways LSU was able to get on them last week, that you would think they would get a heavy dose of A-Chain. But Jimbo Fisher said in this halftime ESPN hit the game last week, they said they need to establish the run more, and they came out and threw the ball 7 straight times. So it'll be interesting. I think that's a little different with Wegman under center. You think, like you said, you lean on the veteran running back, but the play calling has never ceased to surprise this season. So not quite sure what Jimbo has up his sleeve.
Yeah, that's been one of the biggest criticisms, though, all season long, has been the play calling, the offense, the antiquated offense of Jimbo Fisher. Now, though, that he is starting a freshman quarterback, this is his quarterback. He is supposed to be the quarterback guru, the groomer of quarterback. Do you think we see, just like you said, though, where they come out and let Connor throw the ball a little bit just because it's his time?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think they're not going to rein things back in just because they have the true freshman in there. I think Jimbo, this is Jimbo's guy for the future. He was supposed to actually be a two-sport guy, play baseball as well, was an early enrollee, but didn't join up with the baseball team through the spring, so he could have some time to just be with the football team and learn the playbook. I don't think they're going to rein anything in necessarily, but I do think the run game will maybe feature a little bit more just because of the matchup. But yeah, there has been some criticism of that play calling. It's a ball possession type pro style offense that that if it's run well, you're getting to third down frequently, but it's third and very manageable. And that's exactly how Kellen Mond was able to operate it so well. They dominated time of possession in Kellen Mond's senior year a couple years ago, getting third and manageable and converting on third down. And they just haven't been able to get to third and manageable that much this season. In fact, most of their first downs have come in the first or second down of early downs of the drive, not necessarily third down. So you'd like to see. I think fans would like to see Jimbo Fisher open it up a little bit more, use a little bit more motion, use a little bit more eye candy, and kind of modernize it a little bit more, or at least make it look a little bit more like the modern college system, not necessarily the little bit older style pro system.
And then this defense, there's so much talent on it, especially young talent. You just talked about it, Travis, being so disappointing against the run. DJ Durkin coming over from Ole Miss, so he knows this personnel really well. That's going to be the key matchup tonight. Can they slow down this Ole Miss running game? Because I think Jackson Dart has been less than impressive as a quarterback. They're going to have to slow down this running game of the Rebels.
Exactly, and that's been not only their struggle, but when DJ Durkin was at Ole Miss, they never broke the top 100 in rushing defense. He's never really been great, at least since he's been a coordinator and not a head coach, at defending the run as a coordinator. And with Zach Evans and Judkins back there, if Evans plays, that's going to need to be the key matchup. Is if A&M's defensive front can withstand that. Now they are a little bit banged up too. Nickelback Antonio Johnson didn't go last week. It'll be interesting to see if he goes. And Edrin Cooper, a linebacker, didn't go last week. Johnson's their leading tackler, and Cooper is third on the team in tackles for loss, which is, of course, key for that run stopping. So we'll be interested to see how maybe some of these younger guys can step up again. And they were the run defense against South Carolina was their best of the season, save for Sam Houston early in the year. And if they can kind of continue on that trend, will be interesting to see.
Yeah, that South Carolina game was an intriguing one because they come off the Alabama game. You go to South Carolina. You looked at that game as a winnable ball game coming out of the Alabama game because it is Ole Miss at home, which is a winnable ball game. Florida's at home, winnable. UMass, and then LSU. with everything, a lot of those games being at home, that South Carolina game had to sting quite a bit.
Yeah, I think especially they would say so because of the way that it started out. I mean, they were down 17 points in the first 5 minutes because of opening kickoff return, an interception, and a really bad fumble, like one of the craziest plays I've ever seen, where the center snapped it while the quarterback was trying to change the play at the line. It bounces off the quarterback's knee and flies over the line of scrimmage right into the arms of a linebacker. All of those ended up in points, and with the way that A&M's offense has struggled in the red zone and struggled to put points on the board, it was just kind of a insurmountable hole that they couldn't get out of.
Yeah, it really was. And I do think they fought, though, and I was there in the press boxes. I'm sure you were at Tuscaloosa. They fought that entire game and were 2 yards away from winning. Of course, it wasn't ideal for Alabama. They didn't have their starting quarterback, and, of course, A&M didn't have Max Johnson. But, I will say, and I know they didn't play good enough to win against Appalachian, but they were fighting in that game, just couldn't score. I think the team has continued to fight. It's just the concern is, though, some of the off-the-field conduct from the young players. And, do we know how many are not going to dress tonight, Travis?
Jimbo Fisher wouldn't address the suspensions this go around. We'll have to actually see when they come out to the warm-up to see. But the report is 3 to 4 could possibly be suspended from that issue. But again, that's one of those wait and see until the team takes the warm-up field to see if that's going to come to fruition.
That's what we kind of figured. So, in your mind, what's going to be the formula tonight? What do we need to see out of Connor Wegeman? Because I know that Jimbo thinks he's got big-time arm talent. He liked a little bit of what he saw last week against South Carolina. What do we need to see out of him to complement A-Chain? And then what kind of shape is this offensive line in for Texas A&M right now?
Yeah, the offensive line, they have three guys who have seen significant time who are going to be out for the season, namely Bryce Foster, the center, Matthew Wyckoff, who was the starter at South Carolina and had some snap issues, is going to be back in there. And you got to see him get a little bit more comfortable in just his role there, because it'll be better because they don't have the opposing crowd making noise when they're trying to get the call in and all that above. But need to see a lot better from him. But again, I'm going to go back. Connor Wegeman has to just manage the game and don't turn the ball over. I think if he can do those two things, that's exactly what Kellen Mond did in this offense 2 years ago, and they were able to win. He didn't do anything flashy. It was manage the game, don't turn the ball over. But I think the biggest matchup in this game is going to be A&M's defensive front against that running attack. And really, whichever team plays the run better defensively is probably going to be the team that wins.
Yeah, do you like Texas A&M's chances in this one, ultimately?
I don't. I think they're a 2-point favorite as of right now, but I just don't think it's a good matchup. I haven't seen anything really out of them. Yeah, they did better against the run against South Carolina, but that's not a very good South Carolina team. This is going to be their stiffest test on the ground since Alabama, and probably the second stiffest test from a run game probably they'll see all year. I don't really like the matchup. I think that if they don't get into the game quickly and let them get some yards quickly, some chunk plays on the ground, just like in South Carolina, it's going to be hard for them to get back into things. And you have the true freshman quarterback going, who's going to have probably some of the jitters and going to need to get comfortable in the game as well.
Well, Travis, man, we are going to enjoy your coverage from College Station. Thanks for taking some time to join us. We know it's going to be a busy day for you, but let everybody know how they can follow your coverage live from College Station tonight as the Aggies take on the Ole Miss Rebels. It's hard to believe, wow, 6 weeks since a home game in College Station, but let everybody know how to follow your coverage.
Yeah, I know my wife is excited that I'm actually home on a Saturday for once. You can find the stories and the videos at theeagle.com, the Bryan College Station Eagle, and then Twitter is at Travis_L_Brown.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Travis.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
All right, Travis with the. All right, thanks, and Travis there, and Drew. That's coming
Sounds
from
bleak.
the Texas A&M reporter there, not confident that the Aggies can get it done tonight over an Ole Miss team who we just saw a week ago
get destroyed. Yeah. Well, I'll just say this: if Ole Miss starts taking control of this game, Lane will run it up. I have no doubt about that.
You think so?
Oh, there is no question in my mind. I mean, especially with what he said about the DJ Durkin situation. It was quoted this week in his press conference when he said, bid. That's a common thing with that school when they hired Durkin away from Ole Miss.
Just a subtle little comment there to remind us the fact that Texas A&M.
Here's another subtle little comment. Your halftime score: Penn State 14, sucks 13. So Ohio State kicked a field goal to at least cut it to 1. Come on, Sean Clifford. Play a perfect second half. I want to see these pukes go down because I think they're a fraud.
Sean Clifford's one of the many quarterbacks in college football right now that can get an AARP discount.
Yeah, what is about 25?
Stetson Bennett can get one. And by the way, Auburn has tacked on a field goal.
Okay, good.
Arkansas
Here we go.
Had a touchdown.
Here we go.
It is 17-13 with 2 seconds left to go before the half. So they're about ready to go to half.
Yeah.
They're down on the plains. Arkansas has the ball. Looks like they have it at midfield with 2 seconds left. So we'll see if anything comes of that. But it looks like it's going to go to half. Arkansas up 17-13. And
they might punch it in. Anders Carlson from 24 yards out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Tank Bigsby, he had that long run, and since then has not added any more yards to his carries. So 8 carries, 57 yards.
Ashford, though, picking it up a little bit. He's 9 of 15, 102 yards. Is this, like I said, the Arkansas secondary? I mean, when you talk to Trey Biddy and we had Curtis Wilkerson on this week, it's bad. It's just bad. Okay? I mean, they're not good. It's one of the worst secondaries in the SEC. And if you remember, before the injury to Bryce Young, Alabama had already thrown for over 200 yards in a little over a quarter before he went out.
Yeah.
And so Alabama was putting up big numbers. So it's 17-13. It just looks like it's about to go to the half, but Auburn hanging in.
All right, let's get a break in. Going to wrap up hour one when we return live from University Kia, right along University Drive, #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama.
Holiday hack? Get your shopping done early so you can enjoy the season stress-free. I just went to Kohl's and got $10 off because I spent over $50. An extra 20% off on top of that, plus 25% off matching jammies, sweaters for under $24, and 20% off Legos. More gifts and more savings? Yes, please. Select styles. Offers end October 30th. Lego coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Take it to the house this football season with the Alabama Manufactured Housing Association. If Alabama or Auburn returns their first received kickoff in the second half or a touchdown at a home SEC game, one lucky fan will win a $75,000 down payment towards the purchase of a manufactured home from an authorized AMHA dealer. Don't miss your chance to take it to the house this season and win a beautiful manufactured home. Register to win today at auburntigers.com/takeittothehouse or rolltide.com/takeittothehouse. Certain terms and conditions may apply. To learn more, visit alamha.org. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The Drive.
Both those guys have done a good job in what we've asked them to do, and both of them have developed nicely, and both of them have consistently made plays.
Wes and Steve.
Their decision-making, their judgment, their ability not to force things and take what the defense gives and distribute the ball with good decision-making, down in, down out, is probably the only thing that's going to be any different about them, because it's not physical ability or talent. So it's intangibles, leadership, decision-making, judgment, and all those types of things. And, both guys have done a good job in that regard as well.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton each weekday afternoon starting at 5. We are your home of ESPN Radio, 97.7 The Zone.
You block until the whistle blows.
From SEC Media Days to the National Championship Game.
This was a great team win.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And our producer, Bailey, sent me this during the commercial break.
Yes, from Pat McAfee.
From Pat McAfee.
4 years at Iowa. He is beloved by the Iowan fans, and he should be. Has brought a lot of success, a lot of NFL guys. 2 guys on Thursday night, big part of that Buccaneers-Ravens game. Iowa dudes, Tristan Wirfs, Lindenbaum, the center. You talk about George Kittle, who's like the most famous guy in the NFL right now. He's an Iowa guy. I think my big thing about Iowa, and I have some Hawkeye friends.
Big Ty.
Big Ty,
yeah,
Dallas Clark, Bob Sanders. You go through it. That Iowa program's a good one. They had A&F on their helmets for a long time. America needs farmers. Yeah. And I don't know what you know about farmers, okay? I know some things. They obviously provide the incredible food for our country. They work very hard. They're very frugal. But those farmers got a lot of cash. And those farmers would support that program. However, I think Ferentz has to evolve into this NIL, these modern opportunities, because with how good the defense is, with how good the offense could be, you bring a couple stars in out of the transfer portal, look at Iowa to be all the way back. Kirk's got to fire his damn kid, though.
But look, Pat McAfee makes a great point, not just about Iowa. He makes a great point about college football and the coaches of today that maybe have been in the game for a long time but not willing to adapt to the nuances of college football, the transfer portal.
We just talked about one with Travis L. Brown.
Jimbo Fisher.
He's got to change his offense.
Yep.
I mean,
he's obviously embraced the NIL stuff. He's got that taken care of.
Oh, good Lord. I mean, they got the highest salary cap, and if they're not smoking weed, they're actually out on the field. But, But no, that McAfee makes a great point that Kurt Ferentz needs to embrace it. Kurt Ferentz does not do transfer portals. I don't really blame the Sun, man. Everybody's blaming the Sun. Everybody's blaming the Sun.
I'm blaming the Sun because the Sun's an idiot.
But his dad's telling him what kind of offense to run. It's his program. Right. His dad has to decide to change the offense, Scott, because it doesn't matter if he fires his son if he wants to run the same offense.
Yeah.
You have to make a change. You have to change philosophically what you're doing.
And Kurt Ferentz, his whole thing was, he says he tried it one time. And remember when Mac Brown got fired from Texas and was it Greg Davis was his offensive coordinator down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought him in 1 year to try to revolutionize the Iowa offense, try to speed it up a little bit, try to go no huddle, and it backfired. Well, because they didn't recruit those guys.
I was going to say, you can't do it in 1 year. You got to give it time here. If you're changing the way you're doing things.
It didn't work.
But now you have the transfer portal, though. See, and now you can bring in some guys. You've got to change what you're doing.
And the next year he went back to where he was comfortable at. And then Iowa won, and it was, see, I told you so. Well, and so he has been slow to change. But there's a lot of college football coaches out there that have been slow to change and have been resistant in making a change. Look at Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney does not like to go out and get guys from the transfer portal. Clemson's been slow with the NIL stuff along the way. Dabo Swinney's going to have to change a little bit. Not much, but there are things.
I think that Clemson is participating in the NIL. No, it's not like the Texas ATM in the Ruiz Hurricanes.
Well, yeah, TJU is getting some money to be benched.
Come on, man. I mean, and that man was on some national commercials and stuff. They've been taking care of their players, and but Dabo just finally lost a lot of coaches, and that if you have a modicum of success and the kind of success he had, eventually that's going to happen. And so I do think that they're in a weak sauce conference, and that's why they've been able to stay undefeated because they didn't look good against Syracuse at all. Okay,
No.
just sitting there watching their team, I think they would get to the playoff and get smashed. But who knows? I don't know if there's a great team in college football this year. So we'll see how
a dominant team.
Yeah, we'll see how Ohio State does in the second half. They get off to a great start, but now they're down 14-13 to Penn State. Personally, I'm going to be rooting for the
Notre Dame
Nittany
is
Lions.
now up 21-7 at half on Syracuse.
1-7 in the Carrier Dome against Syracuse.
Yes,
the same Notre Dame.
Yes,
that lost to Stanford in front of 5 people.
And we're not making a joke of the 5 people.
Okay, sorry,
literally
15 people.
5 people.
And 3 dogs, or whatever the hell it was.
Well, it was they probably let the dogs come in for free. So if 5 people came in, you probably had 10 dogs or 5 dogs as well. So
and a couple of pooper scoopers. I don't know.
You don't have to worry about anybody storming the field if Syracuse got a win.
Oh,
you probably invited everybody to come on down anyway.
Yeah.
Come closer. There's no need to sit in the upper deck.
Ugh.
It hasn't been used all year.
Mm-hmm.
David Shaw.
Well, it's certainly going to be used in Neyland Stadium.
Oh man,
it's going to be nuts
that environment
again.
is going to be raucous.
Yeah, we're gonna got the Halloween uniforms. We've already talked about that.
Yeah, and the helmets, the black helmets.
Yeah.
I wonder if Vince Ferrara is a huge fan of those. I wonder how
we can ask him.
Feels
He's going to come on
that.
here in a minute. I mean, when we start hour 2 of our extravaganza here live at University Kia on University Drive, the highest volume Kia dealership in Alabama, and as you've said, really in one of the top in the southeastern United States. I mean, this is a dealership that when we're here for 2 hours, they average selling at least 5 cars.
Well, and I don't think we're going to see Arthur today. He's had a busy week, by the way. He was hobnobbing with Serena Williams. She was in town the other night, by the way. On Thursday, she was in town for a fundraiser, great fundraiser, Boys and Girls Club, I believe. So
there you go.
She was in town as the featured speaker, the guest speaker. Serena Williams was in town, and I know it meant a lot of people that got to go see Serena and have pictures made with the tennis legend, really one of the best athletes.
Her and Margaret Court, man.
Yeah. And so he got his picture made. He had some Christian Dior Nikes on.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's not going to come
That's not some of those $1,500 ones on eBay that I see,
I don't know, but he's not going to come sit with us today. I can guarantee you on that.
I ain't got any Christian Dior ones. I don't even know what the hell those are. And I'm pretty up on the shoes here, but I don't know. I'm not up with that.
My wife showed me. She goes, hey, did you see Arthur's shoes the other day? And I was like, no.
So is your wife one of she notices the shoes too?
Well, our son likes shoes.
Oh, I gotcha.
He likes those, and so we've learned to pay attention to some of these shoes. I don't know. I'm happy when I just get a new pair that don't have Velcro on them.
Oh, really?
Hey,
well, you're wearing ripped ones today.
I am. All right, we're going to get that hour break in. Vince Ferrara will tell us what he thinks about Tennessee's all-black uniforms and black helmets. We're live from University Kia, coming up next.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. YKTA wants you to join their team. YKTA is currently adding machine maintenance and die maintenance positions to their fast-growing company. YKTA has new improved work schedules with built-in days off. Pay range is $25 to $33 based on experience and additional shift differential. And YKTA has opportunities for increased pay above top range through advanced skills training. Apply today at yktal.com/careers.
WZZM Union Grove, Huntsville, the Tennessee Valley's home of ESPN Radio, is 97.7 The Zone. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Lead on Virginia at half. Coming up next on the Cross Country Mortgage Halftime Report, we get you caught up on all the first half highlights. Shouldn't take long. You're listening to College Football on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Mike Greenberg. Greeny.
I am devastated by the injury to Breece Hall. So here's what I genuinely believe. I believe that this is a new and different time for the Jets. I am in. I have bought in on the young players. I have bought in on the coach. And I am fighting my inclination to believe that this is just another example of how nothing can ever go right for us. Like all my life, just when things seemed good, the last time that you felt the Jets were the best team in the NFL, not that they feel that way now, but there was a moment in time when the Jets looked like the best team in the NFL. And then week 1 of 1999, Vinny Testaverde, without being touched, tore his Achilles. Those are the kinds of things that have happened to us. It feels like all of my life. And so I'm fighting like crazy my inclination to feel that way. I'm not going to allow myself to go there. I'm not going to allow myself to think, so that means nothing good can ever happen to us. I believe this is a new era. I believe this is a new time, but I'm not going to allow myself to get negative about it.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Plus, you can watch and listen on the ESPN app.
Sunday on ESPN.
Here in Mexico City, it is vibrant.
Formula One heads south for the Mexico Grand Prix.
What a colourful spectacle.
As Checo Perez returns home.
Sergio Perez comes home
for F1's biggest fiesta.
Time for some tequila.
The Formula One Mexico Grand Prix presented by Mother's Polish. Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on ESPN.
Viva Mexico!
The Hoop Collective Podcast.
There was a reason why Durant was mentioned about the Pelicans, and I mean, I would not trade Brandon Ingram. I would not trade Brandon Ingram for Kevin Durant.
The Hoop Collective Podcast. Listen on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And welcome back in, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It's hour 2 of our Saturday Spectacular Show, coming to you live from University Kia along University Drive. Largest volume Kia dealer, number 1 volume Kia dealer, the number 1 Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. They've been that way for a decade. So if you want to get out here and get a car today, come on out here to University Kia. They'll get you in a Kia. We want to see you in a Kia. They want to see you in a Kia. Heck, if you doesn't have to drive a Kia. Just come on out here. They've got all kinds of great vehicles available for you. And who knows, you might be able to get one for Halloween, just in time for Halloween, a special treat for Halloween. And coming up tonight inside Neyland Stadium, the third-ranked Tennessee Vols are hoping to put on a treat for their fans. They've gone so far as to go with all black uniforms with a black helmet tonight as a special trick, I guess you could say, for the fans. I don't know how we should think about it. I don't know how Vols fans ultimately think about it. I really don't.
Yeah, and we're going to talk to our next guest about Tennessee and Kentucky tonight. He does a great job for the Vol IMG Radio Network, also for the Sports Channel, the Sports Radio WNML 99.1. and he does a great job covering Tennessee, has for many years. He's been very generous to join us on this Saturday afternoon from University Kia, as the Vols will be taking the field tonight inside Neyland Stadium for really probably the biggest game of the week in the SEC. No disrespect to the cocktail party, but this is two really good football teams. Tennessee having a special season, having a chance to win an SEC title, be a college football playoff contender. Kentucky, good team, has fallen short in a couple games, though, against South Carolina without their quarterback, and a heartbreaker against Ole Miss. But the Vols look to keep it rolling tonight, and Vince Ferrara, we're going to talk about that with him right now. Vince, welcome back to Huntsville. You were Drew and Scott. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, guys. Good to be with you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, Vince. Appreciate you joining us today.
Vols going with those all-black uniforms tonight, Vince. Black helmet, black everything. It's going to be a special night there on Rocky Top. Are the fans all in on this all black?
Well, there's never anything that I think is other than winning a championship. There's never anything that fans are 100% on. Depends on the age of who you ask. You know, the upper demographic, they're like, no, why can't we just stay with the traditional? And then the young kids are like, yes, we need to do something like this all the time. And then you probably have your biggest chunk that are like, it looks cool. I wouldn't do it all that much. But, hey, if the recruits like it and the players like it, then whatever. Let's go and let's get fired up and we'll deal with it. So it's all over the place. Generally, though, because it's for the players and the recruits and a lot of fans understand that, not everybody, I think it's generally very positive.
Well, and it's been a very positive season so far for Tennessee. What a special one. Vince, you know, we talked about this in Atlanta for SEC Media Days. I wasn't a believer yet. I thought, you know, they were going to be a good football team. I didn't expect them to beat Alabama. I certainly didn't expect them to be in the mix right now for the SEC title in the college football playoff, but they are. They beat the Crimson Tide. I wasn't shocked that they beat the Gators, but they did inside Neyland Stadium. Now they're taking on Kentucky, and this was an interesting fork-in-the-road game for them last year because Kentucky did everything right from the standpoint of dominate possession. They were at home, but with the potency of this Tennessee offense, Tennessee, I think, had barely over 16 minutes of possession time and still won this game 45-42. So an interesting matchup tonight. Even with Kentucky dominating possession a year ago, they couldn't slow down Tennessee.
Yeah, and this is totally contrasting styles. Kentucky, one of the slowest paced offenses in the country. Tennessee is the fastest. And here's the thing, Tennessee is better in a lot of ways than they were a year ago. And they've played a game in Florida where Florida was, because Billy Napier was going for it on fourth down so much, they were able to limit Tennessee's possessions in that game. That wasn't the tempo leading to the lopsided time of possession. That was Florida being aggressive and trying to keep the ball away from Tennessee and limit their possessions. But Tennessee still scored on almost all their possessions. I think they might have had one punt in that game. So that's the thing, is whether you want to go with a bunch of possessions and lopsided time of possession, or if they're limited. They seem to still overcome that and still find a way to be successful. It's impressive. Now, I do think Kentucky will have some success at shortening the possessions in the game, but Tennessee is scoring quick on everybody. And I know Kentucky has not given up any touchdowns longer than, I think, 20 or 30 yards, something like that. They've been good in that area, but they also haven't seen anything like Tennessee. And Tennessee has expanded their playbook off of their very simple formations, and they're able to get the right one-on-one matchups. They did it again a bunch against Alabama and getting safeties on Hyatt and McCoy. Now they get Cedric Tillman back. So they have a lot. They'll go tight at times. They'll spread you out, cause a lot of conflict. You have to play different than you normally play against Tennessee, and they seem to have new wrinkles constantly off of what they do. Even like, we saw it against Alabama and a few other teams going to an I formation and fullback. So it's really unique the way they've continued to improve off of what they were last year on offense, which has canceled off the numbers in the pass defense, which haven't seemed to matter in terms of wins and losses.
There's a lot of people that believe if Kentucky comes in, controls time of possession, they get their running game going, that it would, put Tennessee in trouble. And then you look back at last year, Kentucky did exactly that, and Tennessee was able to persevere and get a win. What do you think about tonight? I mean, this is at home for Tennessee. They have just been playing. It seems to me now that after that Alabama game, they're just playing loose. You're not thinking about playing. You're just playing right now.
Well, they are playing that way, but I think even you can go a little bit farther back than that. That them playing loose and confident went earlier than Alabama, because I think that was a part of the equation. They believed they could beat Alabama, but they put in the work for that belief. It wasn't just a prayer and a hope, and then you try to talk yourself into it. They know they're good, but then they put in the work during the week to try to get better. Jalen Hyatt hasn't acted since his 5-touchdown game. He hasn't acted like he's arrived. He's still working on getting better in every rep in practice, coaching up the younger receivers, and so they have this ability to put each week in a bubble. And I know a lot of coaches give the coach speak of 1-0 this week and all that kind of stuff that we all get annoyed by, but this team does it, whether it's an FCS opponent or whether it's Alabama at the top of the sport. They seem to take it 1 week at a time, and they haven't looked like a team that's resting on their accomplishments or people patting them on the back. I know that this is a game that there are some arrows that point to Kentucky, because Kentucky had the open week coming in, because Kentucky will slow the pace, because Georgia looms next week. Kentucky gets Tavion Robinson back at receiver, probably their best threat outside. So there's things you could point to talk yourself into Kentucky, but there were things that you could point to talk yourself into LSU in a similar situation with Alabama looming after that, and having beaten Florida prior to that, and Tennessee answered the bell convincingly there too. So I would be surprised if Tennessee is not what we've seen throughout the rest of the year to this point against Kentucky tonight.
And what I like about this Tennessee offense is the development of weapons. You just talked about Jalen Hyatt and becoming a great player. What about Ramel Keaton and his development? They haven't had Cedric Tillman for several weeks, but I think it's been remarkable that the production has been the same. There's been guys step up, play well. We saw Squirrel White have a really good game against UT Martin last week. This is a Tennessee offense, Vince, that seems to be evolving.
Yeah, Squirrel White, Alabama kid, and his future is bright for sure. So he's a guy that if they needed to sprinkle in, I think could do the job. So, and then you go back to last year, Cedric Tillman had 8 career catches going into last season, and then he had that incredible explosive season. Now you have Hyatt developing. You get Brew McCoy from USD. You get Ramel Keaton stepping up in place of Cedric Tillman. Squirrel White can contribute here as well. So they develop players here. Yes, the system is a factor, but look, they scheme guys up to get them open. There are Tennessee receivers running open all the time, and because of the pace and the way they spread you out, it puts teams in conflict. So it's set up for individual player success when they do the right thing. If a receiver doesn't run the right choice route and doesn't read the defense properly, he's not going to be on the same page with Hooker. The play will break down, and then Hooker's trying to scramble to make something out of nothing. They seem to have those explosive plays because everybody is on the same page. So it's impressive how many areas they've improved on from last year when they were obviously very prolific as well. And that wide receiver position development, like you mentioned, Drew, is a big part of that.
Yeah, Vince, I mean, all right, we expected Josh Heupel's offense to be productive like this. A lot of people expected Tennessee to take a next step. Defensively, they've taken next steps. How's really surprised, though, and I mean, just how many times have you sat there in the last couple weeks and said, I knew we were going to be this good, but I didn't think they would be this good in these certain areas?
No, I don't think anybody has the overall big picture. I don't think anyone, the most optimistic of Tennessee fans, might have said, "Hey, this is the year we're going to be Alabama or Georgia," and those were not very frequent. All right, those were hoping. I think at that point, I think the ceiling was 10-2 for what you expected big picture. I had them at 9-3 going into the year, but I didn't think they'd be this good. And in the conversation for all the college football playoffs and getting to Atlanta and all those things that they can legitimately more than halfway through the season talk about when they haven't for a long time. But as far as individual areas, I thought that the passing game and the offense would put up similar numbers to last year, but I didn't think they'd be this explosive. So that's one area. Two, their run defense is much improved. They are 8th in the country in rush defense. Now, I think a part of that, a little bit, is teams are more willing to throw against Tennessee because they've had issues on the back end from time to time. They've also had a ton of injuries, which hasn't helped also. But, look, ever since they gave up the big run to Banacanda from Pitt, they've been awful good since then. And, Gibbs got his yards, but overall this team has, I think, outperformed anyone's expectations in rush defense. So those would be, and also a third would be the offensive line. When then back-to-back weeks, this offensive line, which you thought would be solid, has had an SEC offensive lineman of the week. Darnell Wright a couple weeks ago, and then Jerome Carvin this past week. They've had different guys at left tackle due to injuries, and they still have been terrific, keeping Hendon Hooker clean in a lot of areas. So those would be the three, I think, that have been really impressive. I didn't think they'd be that good as individual units.
And I think that offensive line consistency and improvement, Vince, has been the key for the running game, because I really thought the two areas in which the reason they beat Alabama was they were able to run the football much better than a year ago, and then I thought they did a great job stymieing Alabama's pass rush.
Yeah, and the trust in the offensive line is a big part of that, Drew. Here's another thing, and this was kind of admitted by Alex Golish to the TV crew from last week, that they didn't stick with the run enough last year against Alabama, and that was a priority for them to make sure that they did it in that game. And honestly, they run the ball a lot more than I think people perceive them. You see the highlights of the big pass plays, you think they're throwing it, like Texas Tech with Patrick Mahomes, 50, 60 times a game. And that's not the reality. They're still based on the running game. But Hendon Hooker is also a part of that run game also when they need him. They don't overrun him, which I think is very smart. And he's able to scramble and make plays even off script. The run game with not a deep backfield either. Their third back is a true freshman in Dylan Sampson. It's been Jabari Small and Jalen Wright as the primary guys. If they were to get banged up, they don't go very deep with proven guys. And Sampson has flashed as well, but I think it's been really impressive. And the trust in the O-line and how good they've been, a big reason for that.
No doubt. And what do you think is the big key for tonight to win this game? Because everybody know what looms next week. It's going to be the biggest game in college football. Should Georgia take care of Florida like we anticipate? Should Tennessee win this game in Neyland? It's going to be the biggest game of the year thus far. But what's going to be the key for Tennessee staying focused and being able to move on and take out Kentucky?
Well, Drew, on top of that, from Tennessee side, if Tennessee and Georgia both win today, that game will be the biggest regular season game for the University of Tennessee since probably 1998, and that's the year they won the national championship. I mean, they just haven't had a game, a time where both teams have been ranked this high. After they had the Hail Mary game against Georgia, they were in the top 10, and they faced Texas A&M, but they weren't in the top 5, so under Butch Jones. So I think, and I asked Jimmy Himes his opinion on that, and he said, yeah, maybe Florida in 1998. So that's the stake.
Wow.
The potential that's there for them. But that's for the fans and the media to talk about. I don't think this team has look ahead in them. I would be really, really surprised if they do. As far as the key, I think Kentucky is going to get yards on you. But I think of jumping up ahead of Kentucky and forcing them to play from behind will limit what they can do on the ground, and then Will Levis will have to go into what we see him do at times, and that's try to be a superhero. And he has a tendency to turn the ball over when he tries to do too much. So I think getting out ahead and forcing Kentucky to get one-dimensional with a pass game, I think that's one. And then, two, the other thing is not to give up explosive plays in the pass game with Kentucky, because then I think that will open some things up in the run game for Rodriguez. Now you have balance on offense for Kentucky, and that could make it difficult. But and then Tennessee just needs to be what it's been on offense, and I just not turn the ball over, because they haven't turned it over. And if we see them do that, then yeah, with limited possessions, it's going to keep Kentucky in the game and give them a chance. But so those would be the three things for me: no explosive plays in the pass game, and a great early start on the scoreboard, and then in not losing the turnover margin, which Tennessee seems to always win.
Mm-hmm. And are we going to see Cedric Tillman?
Yeah, it sounds like it. He tweeted that he's back. Pete Thamel said that he and Jalen McCullough are good to go for today. I'm not 100% sure that we're going to see him just go back to the way he was. I wonder if there's a little bit of, hey, let's get him out, get his feet wet, get him out in the field, maybe give him some, have him on a pitch count in terms of snaps, and then maybe be full for Georgia, especially because they have other guys. They could win without Cedric Tillman today. So I think we'll see him. I'm just not certain on how much we'll see him.
Gotcha. Well, great stuff, Vince. Thank you for the live report, and we look forward to your coverage tonight from Neyland Stadium. That'll be a 6 o'clock Central, 7 Eastern kick from Neyland Stadium. Let everybody know how to follow your coverage, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it. At Vince Sports on Twitter, the station Twitter handle, where we'll have updates of the game. It's Sports Animal 991. The website is 991thesportsanimal.com. We'll have all the post game. We'll have a wrap up video. I think it'll probably be Jimmy Himes and me wrapping it up from the field afterwards. So late night with all the post game duties, but we'll have it all for you, and we'll stay up there. So thanks for the bonus visit with you guys. Always a pleasure when I get to talk to you guys, weekday or weekend.
Thank you, man.
Vince.
We appreciate the time, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the football. See ya.
All right, thanks, Vince. Yeah, we've got some big breaking news.
Here we go.
Big breaking news going on this morning, and Pete Thamel putting it out there about 2 hours ago, actually, that Auburn has zeroed in on Mississippi State AD John Cohen to become Auburn's next athletic director. Our good friend Ross Dellinger has now jumped on the wagon as well, and has added that John Cohen would be in line with others to jump from SEC school to SEC school. He is saying, though, that Cohen, nothing has been finalized but could be soon. Justin Hokanson is now reporting that Utah State's John Hartwell was supposed to be in Auburn this weekend, and an announcement of Cohen would certainly be a surprise. That Cohen did speak with Auburn representatives about the position yesterday. Ross Dellinger is saying that any questions about how Mississippi State executives feel about John Cohen should have been answered 3 months ago when he signed a contract extension. He would follow Ross Bjork, who went from Ole Miss to Texas A&M, Scott Woodward from A&M to LSU, and Scott Strickland from Mississippi State to Florida. So it appears, according to Pete Thamel, that Auburn has zeroed in on John Cohen to be their next athletic director.
Interesting. He's a Mississippi State guy. He played baseball there for Ron Polk and was the baseball coach there after a very successful run at Kentucky, and then was elevated to the athletic director's job. Saw him in Tuscaloosa with Mississippi State, and as you said, he signed a contract extension, Scott, just 3 months ago. I think he's making over $1 million a year, so it would be a little bit of a surprise. And even yesterday I was reading Justin Hokanson's latest about the AD search. He was talking more about Hartwell being the favorite from Utah State. He knew that Cohen had spoken to Auburn but didn't expect him to be the hire. So this is going to be really interesting to see if something happens at the 11th hour.
Yeah, we'll see. And usually if Pete Thamel is putting his stamp on it, there's a greater chance that it's actually true. So we'll keep you up to date, but it does appear that Auburn is targeting John Cohen from Mississippi State as their next athletic director. According to Pete Thamel, it is done. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. And speaking of the Auburn Tigers, Arkansas has added a touchdown in the third. It is now 24-13, Arkansas on top of the Auburn Tigers. And a lot of our beat writers that cover the Auburn Tigers have said that it's amazing the difference between last year and this year, that last year Auburn was able to push around this Arkansas squad. This year, Arkansas is pushing around Auburn a little bit. KJ Jefferson has thrown for 210 yards and a touchdown. As a team, Arkansas has rushed for 103 yards, but Auburn has rushed for 160 yards and a touchdown. Robbie Ashford has rushed for 71 yards. Bigsby has rushed for 58 yards.
And then this is interesting because Justin Hokanson, as you said, tweeted that now Hartwell, who is expected to be in Auburn, is not, which means he's probably taking himself out. And now this John Cohen thing is heating up. Now, that would probably please Butch Thompson, who I think worked for John Cohen at Mississippi State. So there, as far as baseball-wise, and he's a baseball guy. Bruce, and then you already have Bruce Pearl in place for basketball. So what's going to happen with a football search? Very interesting. John Cohen hired Mike Leach at Mississippi State, and it would be interesting to see who he would target as Auburn's next football coach, because we believe heavily that there's going to be a change there, that Brian Harsin will be out.
Well, how funny would that be? Somebody on Twitter. It's funny to read the comments on Twitter from everybody trying to figure this one out. And somebody put, well, how fun would that be if Cohen just hired Lane Kiffin away from Ole Miss and brought him over? Take it away from your biggest rival that you're leaving. You know, you come from Mississippi State, you take Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss to bring him over to Auburn.
Well, this is two straight ADs in the last few years that have left Mississippi State for other SEC schools. If this happens, Scott Strickland left Mississippi State to go to Florida, and now John Cohen would be going from Mississippi State to Auburn.
Does it say more about Mississippi State, or does it say...
I don't know. That's a great question. What does it say about their infrastructure? But they signed Cohen to an extension, so that's very, very interesting. But I know that we're going to be following this the rest of the show.
Yeah, we will follow this a little bit more. We've got a lot to get to this morning. Tell you what, this is what's so fun about doing a Saturday show, because you never know where it's going to go. All right, let's get a break in. Aaron Torres will join us. We'll talk more about this as well as other college football news and notes.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
Take it to the house this football season with the Alabama Manufactured Housing Association. If Alabama or Auburn returns their first received kickoff in the second half or a touchdown at a home SEC game, one lucky fan will win a $75,000 down payment towards the purchase of a manufactured home from an authorized AMHA dealer. Don't miss your chance to take it to the house this season and win a beautiful manufactured home. Register to win today at auburntigers.com/take-it-to-the-house or rolltide.com/take-it-to-the-house. Certain terms and conditions may apply. To learn more, visit alamha.org.
Jamie's Log, Progressive, the Harrington's Backyard, day 27, 3:33 a.m. 333. All those threes mean something, or I may be losing it. Been camped in the Harrington's Backyard for 27 days now, proving that Progressive has 24/7 protection. They told me every day they understand what 24/7 protection means. Think I'm finally getting through to them. 333.
Progressive doesn't just offer a great price when you bundle home and auto. We offer round-the-clock protection. Just not literally from Jamie. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Two Maids and a Mop. That's all you need to know to clean house. Two Maids and a Mop is an award-winning company, bonded and insured. Hire them for yourself, or they have gift cards if you want to make someone else's day. Find out more online at twomaidshuntsville.com. A maid service worth talking about. Two Maids and a Mop take care of everything. They supply all the cleaning equipment needed. Call 256-883-6243. The only finger you'll need to lift is the one to call them.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Jamie's log. Progressive. The Harrington's backyard. Day 27, 3:33 a.m. 333. All those threes mean something. Or I may be losing it. Been camped in the Harrington's backyard for 27 days now, proving that Progressive has 24/7 protection. They told me every day they understand what 24/7 protection means. Think I'm finally getting through to them. 333.
Progressive doesn't just offer a great price when you bundle home and auto. We offer round-the-clock protection. Just not literally from Jamie. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Holiday hack? Get your shopping done early so you can enjoy the season stress-free. I just went to Kohl's and got $10 off because I spent over $50. An extra 20% off on top of that, plus 25% off matching jammies, sweaters for under $24, and 20% off Legos. More gifts and more savings? Yes, please. Select styles. Offers end October 30th. Lego coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Welcome back to Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, DeArmond. We're live from University Key. About 30 minutes left of our Saturday spectacular show. And kind of updating on college football news and notes. 7th-ranked TCU holding on against West Virginia 28-24. That one in the third. Notre Dame now at 24-10. Syracuse has added a touchdown. They are up on Syracuse 24-10. Ohio State has taken the lead on Penn State back 16-14. Ohio State scored 10 straight. Penn State then scored 14 straight. Now Ohio State is on top 16-14. Arkansas continues to lead Auburn 24-13, and that is where we go now, back to the Auburn Tigers, because Auburn, according to Pete Thamel, is expected, now this is not official, but according to Pete Thamel, Auburn is expected to name Mississippi State AD John Cohen as their new AD in the next coming days. That is according to Pete Thamel. And that would, I don't know how Auburn fans would feel about that, because it is an SEC to SEC AD. That was the big knock on the previous regime, was that he had no power. Alan Green, didn't come from a SEC school, a big-time school. John Cohen does, I guess you could say, come from a big-time school. But we'll follow that over the next day or so.
We will, and we're going to talk to our next guest. It's been a while since we've connected with him, but he's one of the best in the business when you're talking about national radio host, and has an outstanding podcast, the Aaron Torres Pod. Also, he's a fixture for Fox Sports Radio, does some writing as well, and he also has his own Aaron Torres Media, and that is the one and only Aaron Torres, and he's joining us from the West Coast as we are here at University Kia in Alabama here today in Huntsville, Alabama. But Aaron, it's always great to speak with you, sir. Good morning or good afternoon for us, but how are you, sir?
So I'm well, and it's funny because, you mentioned the John Cohen news. I'm a UConn alum. UConn looking for their first Power 5 victory in forever. They lead Boston College here in the middle of the fourth quarter. But there's been a lot of rumblings that Dave Benedict, UConn's AD, who worked previously at Auburn, was really, I don't know if he was angling for the job as much as he was definitely a legitimate candidate. John Cohen going across the SEC is good news for UConn fans. I think everybody's really happy with what Dave Benedict's done. Jim Moore has looked to be a good football hire so far, Dan Hurley on the basketball side. So, for your boy, that piece of John Cohen news has a little bit of an interesting twist for me as well.
No doubt.
If ultimately he does end up there, is that a good hire for Auburn?
My guess, guys, and I'm sure you're probably hearing the same thing down there, is I think ultimately, the people that are running that search, I think it's more about who do you believe you can get as the next head football coach. And, people have been asking me, and I'm sure they're asking you, Brian Harson's still around, right? We've had, 4 or 5 Power 5 firings throughout the year, and Brian Harsin isn't one of them. And I think, what the Auburn, the people that are there are saying is, this is what we hire an AD for. 1, you go do the dirty work with Brian Harsin. But then 2, more importantly, who are you bringing as your next head coach? And so, listen, I think it sounds super cliche to say, but I think there's truth to it is I don't think we'll be able to define the hire as a success or failure, 1, until you hire a head football coach. And then 2, of course, more importantly, until 2, 3, 4 years down the road, we see how successful that guy is or is not.
Well, and what's interesting, too, is there was breaking news last night about Hugh Freeze agreeing to another new contract at Liberty. I know his name's come up at Auburn. I've brought it up. Now they're paying him upwards of nearly $5 million per year, Aaron. They seem very aggressive in wanting to keep him there. He's making almost as much money as Harsin is at Auburn. Now, we know Auburn can pay. They paid Gus Malzahn over $7 million a year. And then we saw, John Cohen bring the Pirate Mike Leach to Starkville. This is going to be pretty interesting if he's the athletic director to see who he zeroes in on to bring to Auburn.
Yeah, I saw a good report from Chris Bonini from The Athletic. He said that, Hugh Freeze, he has a buyout. It's not so big that you can't get him out of that new Liberty contract. But, listen, this is why you have an agent if you're Hugh Freeze, because you're in a really good spot either way. I mean, obviously, as you just alluded to, Drew, you're making $5+ million a year, $5-ish million a year at the Group of 5 level. I think he will be the highest paid Group of 5 head coach when that contract kicks in, at least for the time being. But then at the same time, listen, if it is an Auburn, if it is somebody else, I don't know of the jobs that are available, if any would make sense for him or vice versa. But if it is Auburn and they do want you, then they got to go put their money where their mouth is and prove to you how badly they want you. And that would obviously be, a significant amount of money. So, I don't think that signing that extension necessarily knocks Hugh Freeze off. I know for a fact it doesn't knock him off the table as a candidate. Mm-hmm. But, he and his agent are going to make you say, okay, you pay me like, if you believe I'm an upper echelon SEC head coach that can turn this program around, then you got to pay me like it. And especially in a world where Kirby Smart's making 10, whatever it is, 11 a year, Nick Saban's over, 10, 11 a year. I can't put a number on what it would take to get him out of that contract. But to your point, Drew, it's probably north of what Gus Malzahn was making when he was fired a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know. Speaking of money and a lot of money, what do you make? He's not going anywhere. I mean, that's not the question. What do you make of all the situation going on at Texas A&M?
I think there's a lot going on, and it's funny, Scott. It's hard to peg it to one thing. I mean, listen, the thing I keep going back to is, Jimbo Fisher's a guy that's been known dating back to the Florida State days, that it's been about talent over culture. It's been about cutting corners isn't the right word because it makes it sound like something else. But I don't think discipline is one of Jimbo Fisher's strong suits. I mean, listen, we don't have to speculate on what is or is not happening at Texas A&M. This is a guy that had his Heisman Trophy winning quarterback get in trouble for literally stealing crab legs from a store, which is just, it sounds insane when you say it. It really happened, and the kid played, and it wasn't until 2-3 incidents later where you suspend him for 1 half. And so I just bring it up, guys, to say, this has never been his strong suit, and when it's not your strong suit, you got a bunch of young guys that are playing, over veterans. A team is struggling. It's just a wild situation. But what I would also say is too, guys, it's been 5 weeks since they've played in College Station, and the quickest way to silence all this is to get a win tonight as a 2.5-point favorite or 2.5-point underdog. So Vegas think it's going to be a close game. You get a win over Ole Miss this week. I think it quiets people at least for a week or two.
And Aaron, you follow the sports of college football and college basketball as closely as anyone we feature. Is there a great team in college football this year thus far?
I don't know, right? I will say this is, obviously Tennessee's awesome, Michigan's awesome, Ohio State's not looking great today. I found it weird, guys. I was doing my show during the Georgia-Missouri game, and, we were on air in the fourth quarter. Georgia was trailing by double figures, and they came back and won. And myself and my radio partner, Jason Martin, I don't think we ever jumped to the conclusion to be worried about Georgia, but a lot of other people did. I heard a lot of, I don't know, this doesn't look like the same team as week one, blah, 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 blah. Well, now they're coming off a bye. They're coming off a 55-0 win over Vandy, 42-10 over Auburn. I know neither of those teams is very good, but I just bring it up to say I think they might be rounding into form, and obviously I think they're going to win easily today, and I think their whole season in many ways is going to be defined by what happens next week in against Tennessee, not in Knoxville, excuse me. So, I just found it weird that it felt like everybody was quick to try to punch holes in Georgia's resume despite winning all of their games. And I do think they're starting to get back into rhythm. But like I said, we're going to find out maybe on a neutral field today, but certainly a week from now when they play Tennessee.
Oh, we certainly will. It's going to be a
Things
great
not
game.
looking good for the Auburn Tigers, trailing 31-13 now to Arkansas. I know we talked about Hugh Freeze and everything, but ultimately with Brian Harsin, Aaron, what can you put your finger on that has gone so bad for him at Auburn?
Yeah, we know you followed him closely on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's a number of things, man. I know it's a great question by you, Scott, but I don't think there's one thing, right? I do think that there were, cultural issues or whatever, but then you have the incident with off the field last February. You have a bunch of guys transfer, so this was already a program that was losing some really talented players going into the season, and then you lose a bunch of guys to the portal. Brian Harsin hasn't recruited to the level that you need to win in the SEC, so you're losing high-end players. You're not replacing them, and so it's just so many different things, right? And, by the way, I know it was only his first full off season last year, but it's not as though guys haven't had success. Listen, we can criticize, say, a Mario Cristobal for, what we think might be happening in recruiting right now down there, but he's going to sign a top 10 class in his first full cycle at Miami. Lincoln Riley's going to sign a great class. Brian Kelly's going to sign a great class. And so I just bring it up to say, when you lose talent going into the offseason, then you lose a bunch of players to the portal. You don't replace them with high-end players or high-end recruits. I think you're just seeing what we've seen on the field, not only today, but most of the season for Auburn. They just don't have good enough football players. And so I think, that's going to be the number one priority. I think we all think that this is going to be the last few weeks of the Brian Harsin era, but I think that's the number one priority. You got to find players wherever you can. If it's the portal, if it's the high school ranks, if it's junior college, it doesn't matter. Like, you just watch them, and they're just not competitive athletically with a lot of the teams that they're playing. And so that, to me, Scott, I know, again, I didn't really answer your question because I don't think it's one specific thing, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, it's Brian Harsin. I mean, the guy can still coach football. It's not like he's forgotten how to coach football.
Yeah.
And, I don't believe that. I believe he still can coach. It's just the wheels have come off with everything he's trying to do at Auburn.
Well, in the last few minutes, Aaron, we'd be remiss because you're as well connected as anyone in college basketball, and I know you're super excited about it. We've already seen some very interesting secret scrimmage results. I know I saw where Tennessee beat Gonzaga. You're very high on Arkansas and Eric Musselman. They've got a chance to be a top 10 team. Your thoughts on the SEC and the outlook in college hoops?
I just think it's a really good league across the board, guys. Drew and Scott, I know you guys know the Alabama program really well. I'm genuinely excited to see that team. I know they're a little banged up right now. Amari Burnett and Bediako might be out to start the season, but I'm excited to see them. I think Bruce Pearl likes his group. Texas A&M. I think people forget. I mean, listen, guys, we're ready. Greg Sankey's ready to blow up the whole NCAA tournament because he thought Texas A&M was a team that should have been in last year. So I just bring it up to say they're really good. And lastly, what I would say, guys, is I think a lot of the new hires are going to have instant success. I think Matt McMahon has a good group at LSU. Now, is it good enough to break into that upper echelon this year? Probably not. I think Chris Jans at Mississippi State is going to be successful there. Dennis Gates at Missouri. We'll see about Todd Golden at Florida, who probably has the most talented roster of the 6 new head coaches. So that's really my big takeaway, guys, is I think this is going to resemble a lot of the other sports that we love, whether it's football or baseball, where, on any given day, any given night, anybody can beat just about anybody else. There are going to be a lot of gimmies in that league, and I think as good as that top tier is, I think that second tier is going to be that much better with some of the new head coaches that came in this offseason.
Yeah, we get to see that Auburn team up close and personal this week. They have a exhibition game against a Division II program here in UAH and John Shulman, so we'll get to see them. The expectations are high there as well for that Auburn squad. They play about 10
minutes from me in mid-December at USC, baby. I'll be there.
Yeah, there we go. Aaron Torres, we need to get Aaron Torres back on to see what he thinks of Auburn. And, of course, USC, under Andy Edenfield, they've really made a lot of strides, bringing in a lot of talent to that program, no doubt about it. But there's no one more well-versed in college hoops than Aaron Torres. Well, Aaron, we appreciate the few minutes and especially the insight into John Cohen, because this is a breaking story that has been happening today. And I know we're also tracking the Auburn Tigers this morning and Ohio State and Penn State, as Ohio State is now finally playing a game outside of the state of Ohio, as you pointed out on your Twitter account. But let everybody know how to follow your coverage. And I know you guys are going to be all over the place covering the national picture on the Fox Sports Radio tonight.
Well, in their defense, they did play a really bad Michigan State team outside the state of Ohio before today. But, Drew, you can follow me on Twitter at Aaron_Torres. We've also started team-specific accounts that are really well run by students and interns. So Torres on Bama, Torres on Auburn, no Torres on UAB yet. We're working on that one as we speak. But Torres on Auburn, Torres on Bama, both those guys do an awesome job. Our Auburn guy is actually at the game right now, that poor kid. But yeah, that's really it, guys. I love coming on with you guys, and anytime you need me, please just let me know.
Hey, does UCLA ultimately go to the Big Ten?
Listen, nobody, I don't know, we got to get to break here, but nobody loves jumping on issues that they can't control quite like our governor. He loves jumping on issues that make him look good publicly, and this is just the latest. UCLA is coming to West Lafayette and Rutgers, Piscataway, New Jersey before you know it. Look forward to it. Can't wait for that first UCLA.
Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Appreciate it, brother.
Torres, let's get that break in. We're going to wrap it up here coming up next.
Braves country, we cannot thank you enough for this epic 2022 run. The season was cut short, but we've enjoyed every moment of this run. From chasing down the Mets to winning our 5th straight division title.
And every last one of us is so grateful to bring you Braves baseball. And for all of you out along Braves country, wherever you may be, we love you very much. You all feel like family to us, and that's what means the most.
Thank you, Braves country, from the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
If you're dealing with fatigue, low energy, and decreased performance at work or school, you may have insomnia. The professionals at Integrated Behavioral Health are experts in helping patients deal with insomnia.
I recommend IBH to anyone who is in need of mental health care. The practitioners are very professional, and they've treated me like a human rather than a case.
If you need help, contact Integrated Behavioral Health today. Call 855-422-1618. Integrated Behavioral Health in Madison and Decatur.
Did you know the state's top-ranked private school is here in Huntsville? What about one of the nation's few Orton-Gillingham Academy accredited schools? At Randolph School, our experienced teachers and coaches challenge and nurture students as they prepare for college and life. Our pre-K through 12 school includes Greengate School at Randolph, serving students with dyslexia. Parents, we know that you are your child's biggest advocate, and we invite you to explore your education options. Schedule a tour at randolphschool.net.
After a long, hot summer, there's nothing quite like the cool, crisp mornings of fall in Huntsville, Alabama. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's time to get out there. Whether it's hunting, camping, boating, biking, or kayaking, we've got the F-150 to take you there. It's truck month at Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got 2022 F-150s in stock on the lot, ready for your driveway today. And with your good credit, get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 60 months. This offer ends 10/31. Being the best-selling truck in America for 44 years in a row is no small feat. But I promise you, if you come drive an F-150, you'll understand. Woody Anderson Ford has nearly 100 F-150s to choose from and lots of colors and option packages. One of these is right for you. Truck month at Woody Anderson Ford. Exceptional deals on all our trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. And a great selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles. Woody Anderson Ford, corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll super mega for your backside. Shake it, put it, do the Charmin slide. Super mega make you feel alright. Everybody do the Charmin slide. Long-lasting TP gets everybody going. Leaves booties clean and totally glowing. Shake your booty, do the Charmin slide. Change your roll less and go with pride.
Charmin Super Mega Roll is longer lasting, so you can change the roll less often. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Carrier Rosenblum here with Rosenblum Realty, and we appreciate our MA family. Football season is back again, and we're here for your real estate needs. We've been also doing rental properties for many years. You may have a home that you need to lease out. You don't need the headaches. You need somebody to take care of it, make sure the repairs are done, keep the rent coming in, and screen the tenants. We can do all that for you at Rosenblum Realty, where we do property management services, or you can find a good home to rent as well. Call us at 256-539-9501. Put our years of experience to work for you.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
4 Heisman Trophy winners, 33 Southeastern Conference championships, 18 national championships. Hi, this is Chris Stewart of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. We're live from University Kia along University Drive, the #1 volume Kia dealer, the largest volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. We've been here since 12, and there has been a lot going on in the state of college football. An update from down on the plains. Arkansas out in front of Auburn, 31-13 now, with 14-13 left to go in the fourth quarter. So the fourth quarter just underway down on the plains. Raheem Sanders has rushed for 171 yards for the Arkansas Razorbacks. KJ Jefferson on the ground has passed for a touchdown and has rushed for 2 alone. He has rushed for 20 yards. Robbie Ashford, the leading rusher for the Auburn Tigers, at 74 yards. Remember we talked about Tank Bigsby? And he was busted loose for that 41-yard touchdown. Tank Bigsby, 11 carries, 63 yards on the day, averaging 5.7 yards per carry, but a lot of that because of that 41-yarder that he reeled off. Ashford, 15 of 23, drew 150 yards through the air. So not very big yardage there for Robbie Ashford through the air. But the big story with the Auburn Tigers is it does appear that they have found their next athletics director.
Yeah, John Cohen of Mississippi State, and Justin Hoaxson just 2 minutes ago tweeting this live from the game. The last time an Auburn defense allowed 200-plus yards in 3 straight games rushing against Power 5 competition was at the end of the 2014 season against Georgia, Alabama, and Wisconsin to end the year. And as he said, that will change today after the last 3 against Georgia, Ole Miss, and Arkansas. Then he tweeted before this, lots of fans leaving, still a solid number sticking around into the fourth quarter. It's a nice day, and you made the trip. You might as well hang around.
Oh, you might as well hang around.
He said, might as well. You might as well stay.
You might as well, because where else are you going to go? I mean, it's the only game going on right now. Penn State is taking the lead back on Ohio State. 21-16.
And that was a 4th-and-1 score. Let's go, Nittany Lions. Let's go, Nittany Lions. Let's go, Nittany Lions. Punch it in against the Sucks.
Oh.
As you can tell, I hate them. Sorry, Todd Miller.
Man. 7th-ranked TCU on top of West Virginia, 31-24. Notre Dame has tacked on a touchdown in the 4th. They now lead Syracuse 31-17. So there are your scores from around the top 25. And, of course, we're keeping an eye on what's going on down at the Plains for a lot of reasons. Number one, Arkansas in control of this one, 31-13. And I'd hate to believe, or I hate to think that Auburn's 13 first-half points was a fast start and that the trend of not having much offense in the second half is going to continue, because they did not do a darn thing in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
did the Auburn Tigers. That's pretty low there. Of course, leading in right after us, right after we're done, you're going to get top-ranked Georgia and Florida right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, getting ready to kick off in Jacksonville. And I think we believe that Georgia going to win this one.
Oh yeah, they're going to win it handily. And I was just reading our good friend Steve Robertson, as we know, on GeneSpage.com, reporting on the John Cohen situation. He said speculation regarding Cohen's candidacy has made the rounds. Some reports have surfaced that are not rooted in fact. One such report suggests that Mississippi State officials are forcing Cohen out, and that is simply not the case, is what he is reporting.
So if he leaves, he is leaving on his own accord.
Right.
There you have it. We'll keep following that story here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We'll be back at it Monday morning, but we'll continue to keep following this story and following if indeed this is true that Auburn has found their athletics director, because that is the one thing we believe holding it back, that why Brian Harsin probably still ultimately has a job there as football coach. And then after the season's over, new athletic director, new football coach for the Auburn Tigers, starting all new would be...
all I need is a pick six from the great C.J. Stroud. I need an interception returned for a touchdown for the Nittany Lions, and I need State College, Pennsylvania to be going crazy right now. That's what I need. Please, I need C.J. Stroud to puke all over himself and blow the Heisman Trophy. That's what I want for Halloween.
Yeah, Ohio State loses this one, and then Hendon Hooker has a huge game tonight.
Yeah.
Hendon Hooker could be your Heisman favorite before it's all said and done after this weekend.
No doubt.
All right. Thanks to University Kia. We want to see you in a Kia. They want to see you in a Kia.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Super